On this episode of Eat, Sleep, Drive, it's the next step in improving shifter feel on my 997. I'm going to show you guys how to change the gear oil in your 911 using this magic elixir. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Eat, Sleep, Drive. Now, in a previous video, I showed you guys how to adjust the shift linkage on your Porsche, and that helped out on my car quite a bit, but it's still not quite as sweet as I think it should be on a Porsche. So I've done a lot of reading online. The thing that seems to make the most improvement is changing your gear oil. Now, there's a lot of different gear oils that you could put in this car, but I obviously want to put the best one that's going to give the best shift feel and just shift the smoothest. So this is Mobile Lube PTX, and it is actually pretty hard to find. So shout out to Suncoast Parts for providing this stuff for me today. They are the sponsor for this video. Definitely check them out. I'll put a link in the description below. They're the only people in the US that could get me this stuff. This is factory Porsche fill. It is in the Porsche community, it is just like the best stuff you can buy according to everyone. So I'm super anxious to check it out today and see how it improves my shift feel. So we're gonna go through that process today of changing the gear oil. It's really not too bad on these cars. And then we'll take it for a drive and see how it is improved. So let's dive in. All right, so welcome to my new garage. Check out this lift. Just kidding, it's not really my garage, I'm borrowing it, but wouldn't it be nice? Maybe one day, guys. All right, so first thing we have to do to get access to the drain plug is to take off these two under trays. So they're just, let's see, 6 T25 Torx bit fasteners, and then there's two 10 millimeter nuts that you need to remove. So let's go do that now. All right, so let's take off the under tray. Just kind of got these tabs on the side. This one slides out, that's the first one. No leaks under there, which is good. And then we got to remove this one as well. Oh, looks like I forgot one fastener. All right, now we'll take off the second under tray. Takes a little bit of finagling because of these studs. There we go, number 2, no leaks. It's always a good sign. And now we finally have access to the transmission. All right, so now that we got this stuff off, this is the fill hole. This is on the passenger side of the transmission. There are 2 plugs on the passenger side. There's another one up here. So make sure you're not removing this one, because this would, when you fill this from this hole, it puts in like 5 quarts, and this thing only takes around 3 liters. So make sure you're removing the right one. It's towards the front of the car most, and on the passenger side. So that's the fill hole, and this is the drain hole right here, which is pretty obvious, but I always like to remove the fill hole first, just in case if you can't get this off and you've already removed the drain plug, you're basically out transmission fluid. So we're gonna go ahead and remove this fill hole first. And to do that, I'm actually going to remove this little junction box, which I believe is for the alternator, because it's just kind of in the way of me getting my socket in there. So this is 2 10 millimeter bolts. I'm gonna remove that first, and then we'll remove the fill plug. All right, so now I got this wire out of the way so I can more easily put in the socket. And it's a 24 mil. And we'll see how much braking force it takes. Not too much. So that is broken loose, so I'm gonna leave that for now. And then now we can move on to the drain plug, which I'm gonna break loose. And that's broken loose. So now we'll get our drain pan, get this all situated to drain the transmission fluid. So I got the drain under here, and hopefully it's lined up. I'm gonna take off this plug and try and be quick about it so I don't make a massive mess. Of course it would do that.
Why are you lifting it up?
Because it's gulping,
Oh.
and it was splashing everywhere.
Oh, what?
I should have removed the fill plug completely.
Probably.
That's why it's gulping.
What a world of difference.
Well, it doesn't do now, but I feel better about it. It had to come out anyways, all right? Shut up. This just drained for about 10-15 minutes, came to a very slow trickle, so I feel confident that most of the gear oil is out of there. I've just hand threaded the drain plug in, and make sure you put in a new washer on this, and you torque it to 30 foot-pounds. I'm just gonna get it good and tight, and that should be good for the drain plug. Now we're going to move to the fill plug. We'll remove that and then fill it up.
That's what you do there. Good and tight.
Good and tight. That's the go-to. All right, there are a lot of different ways that you can fill a transmission, being that the fill plug is like above this level, so you can't just take this jug and pour it in. So you have to use some sort of method like a pump or whatever. In this case, we're gonna just use this massive syringe, or at least we're gonna try and do it. I'm not sure how hard it's gonna be to suck up all this fluid. So this is probably where we cut away to us spending an hour sucking up all this transmission fluid. Oh God. Wait, why are we on the ground doing this?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I'm too old for this. Oh God, my back. Oh, there it is. As you can see, we've put enough fluid in. It's just coming to a slow drip. That's what we want to do. Fill it up until it starts dripping out of there. Obviously, make sure the car is level. We're on a lift here that's nice and level. So we have enough fluid in there. Now we're just going to put the fill plug back in and then reattach all the under trays. All right, guys, let's go for a drive. I'm just pulling out of the driveway here. It's like 42 degrees outside, so it's still pretty cold. The biggest difference I want to see is what it's like in the cold. And legitimately, I know it's early on, but it genuinely already feels different. See, just like being at a stop before, it used to have like a little resistance going into first and then shifting into second. It's definitely smoother. It's definitely smoother. And like I said, I mean, the biggest problem I had was when it was cold, and it 100% feels different. I'm gonna warm the car up and then we'll see how it shifts when it's warm. Well guys, it's been about 20 minutes I've been driving the car. Went from a stone cold car to now it being warmed up, and the shifter feel is definitely different. It's definitely an improvement over that fluid that I had in there. It was definitely an incremental step. The adjusting of the shifter helped out, and I would say this helped out more than adjusting the shifter. It just overall feels more fluid, and it's just a no-brainer. You know, it's a little over $100. You're doing a maintenance item that'll take care of your transmission, and it shifts a little better. So absolute no-brainer. Once again, huge shout out to Suncoast Parts. Check them out, suncoastparts.com. They can get you this hard to get gear oil. But I appreciate you guys watching as always, and we'll see you on the next episode of Eat Sleep Drive.